All right, let's pray. Grand Architect of the universe, we thank you for another day, another hour, another minute to come together as brethren. There's beauty in unity. So I thank you that our circle has not been broken by death or any other situation. We ask you to be with the brothers in their various journeys and endeavors. We ask you forgive us for our sins and transgressions. And we ask that you build us up as the men every area of our life. Let this lesson build us. Let this lesson mold us. Let this lesson allow us to look in the mirror and to ask ourselves those hard questions that men must ask in order to be successful, in order to conquer, and to live a victorious life. These are the blessings we ask in your name. Amen. So mote it be. So mote it be. So mote it be. All right, brothers, we're going to get into this lesson. This begins on the Entered Apprentice degree. So I don't know how each of you, or I may have an idea, each of you were brought into your various degrees. How I normally do it is with the EAs, I assign them lessons each week to learn outside of the scripture. And the importance is the tools he needs to stick to our oaths and our obligations. Brotherhood goes beyond law. Brotherhood really people being loyal to their two powerful words, two powerful principles: unity and accountability. Brotherhood will equal unity and accountability. Every man should be able to check another brother. Every man should have enough love that we can come together and we can reason with one another. The Bible speaks that if a brother offends you, instead of you telling everybody about the offense, getting a war, approach their brother savages. We should be able to sit down and talk. We should be able to control our emotions and understand if that man is taking an oath, if that man is in your lodge, if that man, if you know him to be a master mason, an EA, or a fellow craft, that you have enough love in your heart to sit down and reason. So brotherhood taps into unity and accountability. A man may stand alone for only one moment, but he cannot grow, he cannot build, and he can't endure life alone, period. A man may stand alone for a moment, but he cannot grow, he cannot build, and God forbid, he cannot endure this life alone. Good is not just an association. Our brotherhood is not just an association. It is a commitment, it is support, and it is responsibility to one another. And I'm going to say that again, y'all. If you're taking notes, Masonry teaches brotherhood is not just an association, it is a commitment, it is support, and it's responsibility to one another. Those three principles is brotherhood: commitment, support, responsibility. Commitment, support, and responsibility. In this dispensation of time and throughout history is I've got it all figured out on my own. It's one of the big. So what in their ego and arrogance, they'll struggle in silence. They carry burdens alone. They hide their problems and they avoid asking for help. And slowly and surely they break. when you struggle in silence, when you carry your burdens alone, when you hide your problems and you avoid asking for help, you without oil, a engine will seize up, blow up, and burn out. And that's why you see a lot of men drinking, smoking, and sexing and trusting the wrong people to try together as imperfect ashlers, rough ashlers, seeking to be perfected. And through the perfection, you have to trust other people, which is the hardest thing, which means I must trust the man to my left and to my right to be able to carry my weight when I can't carry myself. And that's real brotherhood. That's why brothers go, man. I'll fight. I'll encourage you. I'll say things to tick you off because I know you got it in you. I know you got it in you. And not everybody's timing is the same. Some of us need a little bit more time. That's why I do not give up on people, because people have never gave up on me. And you got to understand one thing. When men hold that stuff in together, we die than our female companions because we try to carrying these burdens. We're trying to hide these problems. We are living a lie. We avoid asking for help. And slowly but surely, we break down. And it's not because we weak. It's because we were never meant to do life alone. Never created to do life alone. Period. Freemasonry exists to remind each and every one of us that powerful truth. Freemasonry exists for that simple reminder that no man builds anything great by himself. That no man builds anything great by himself. Now, Masonic lesson, let's get into our Masonic lesson. Brotherhood and Freemasonry. Freemasonry is built on the principle level connection. That's what separates us from other fraternities. They come in, they dance, they go through the rigors of hazing, they go through tests, and then they get their letters and they walk on, and boom, they're part of the thing. But in Freemasonry, the simple principle of brotherly love, not surface level connection, not just a handshake, not just passes, grips, houses, and titles, but real brotherhood, a bond built on trust, a bond built on respect, a bond built on support. That's why if a brother tells you he going through something and he trusts you to know that he's going through something, that brother has trusted you. He respects you. He looks for support from you. Through that, we all have shared growth. Support and shared growth. In operative masonry, listen closely, in operative masonry built by one man. Even when Grandmaster Hiram Abiff was murdered, and you'll discover that allegory and that story later on, you'll understand work wasn't stopped because of one man's death. It was halted, it was put to the side, but through the brotherhood coming together to find his murderers, by the brothers coming together, they were able to complete the temple. All right? You got to understand, in operative masonry that no man builds alone, it requires a team. In order for us to grow our jurisdiction, for those who don't know, we got the charters for the Eastern Star. We got the but the worshipful master, um, worshipful Michael Nickens, he can he cannot do this by himself. It's impossible. So the wisdom of him, he brought together the brothers as a team. He said, I need a 7-man team who I can trust that we can get this thing done. And you are amongst the elite, those he's chosen. You got to understand that each man must play a part in the building process of a lodge, of a family, of a community, and our Masonic fellowship. See, when men don't play their part in the family, in the lodge, or in the community, our neighborhoods, our families, our lodges go to hell, period. And we see this in the city. When men, you got to understand that each the Nolan, I don't care what degree he is, he has a contributing skill and he makes us so much better because he's part of our organization. Brother Tommy has a skill that nobody else has. He has a talent that no one else has that makes our lodge a better place. Brother Crawford has a skill, has a talent that makes us much better. Brother Tambor has a skill, has a talent that makes us better. Brother Roosevelt has a skill, has a talent that makes us so much better. Brother Nickens has a skill and a talent that makes us much better. And as you know, myself, I know I have multiple skills, but I know I have a skill at least, a talent that makes us so much better. Each man contributes and sports the to masonry. This wall. But the grand creator of the universe, the grand architect of the universe, has given you support systems. Even in the Bible, when the great battle took place between Israel and one of the Amalekites or the Canaanites, God made a promise. As long as Moses, he had 2 staffs, he had a rod and he had a staff. And as long as his hand, Israel was winning. And Lord, the tide turned and their enemy started winning. And here's the great part about it. His people, the elders, recognized what did they do? They came over and they held his hands up. They found supports to keep his hands high. And that day they received victory. Why? Because he knew, as powerful as Moses was, one prophet, he was unable to win the war by keeping his hands raised by himself. Every great leader needs a rod of correction and a staff, which is both figurative and literal, a staff of people. The staff carve their genealogy that represent leadership. So the staff and the rod of correction, which is the law, the of antiquities, as long as they're held up high and they're supported by the people, by his staff, by the brothers, we win a war. And this world is looking for our men because this book is not just listed in the Bible, that we place where men can come and learn how to be better men. I'm not going to take manhood from you. You're already a man. But we take good men and make them better men. And through the practice of brotherhood, we all become great. No one is great by themselves. We're great together. You got to also understand that a lodge is not just a meeting place, a place. It is meant to be a support system for men, a support system for men, not just doing fundraising, not just drinking, not just chasing women. It's a support system for men because once you're built up there, we go into the community with our t-shirts and our colors and our in society. It represents manhood and brotherhood. Those two things you got to represent. Represents manhood And if anybody ever asks you, what does Freemasonry symbolize? Manhood and brotherhood. Manhood and brotherhood. Okay. It is meant to be a support system that we grow greater together. How good and pleasant it is for brothers to dwell in what? Unity, brotherhood, support. Okay? Remember that. Now to the part that many of you want to hear, the esoteric nature or the brotherhood. And shared strength. I'm going to say it again. The deeper meaning of brotherhood is unity and shared strength. Individually, a man has limits. Individually, we all have limits. Got somebody to support us while we move to greater things. We don't move as individuals. We move as a unit. Unit, okay, is the why in unity. Get it? Unit, why? Wow, for unity, you got unit. We move together. You got to also understand one good thing, okay? You got to understand this powerful lesson. Brotherhood represents shared burdens. If Brother Nolan has a problem, we have a problem. If Worshipful Master Nickens has a problem, we have a problem. If Brother Tommy has a problem, we have a problem. If Brother Roosevelt has a problem, we have a problem. If Brother Mundell has a problem, we have a problem. If Brother Nolan has a problem, we got a problem. If Brother Tamara got a problem, we got a problem. If Brother Anthony got a problem, we got a problem. If Brother Hurl has a problem, we have a problem. If I'm leaving anybody out, if you have a problem, we have a problem. Why? Nature of brotherhood. I share your strengths. I also share your burdens. Another shared commodity that we share is shared wisdom. You have over 5,000 years of wisdom in a Masonic organization, over 5,000 years of experience. When we got together a few weekends ago, we met millionaires sitting in there, multi-millionaires sitting amongst us, and you couldn't tell the millionaire from the waged employee. Why? Because in a lodge, we share the burden. We share wisdom. We also share accountability, and we share growth is not predicated on one man. Even though you went out and got 20 people, Brother Nolan, it's not looked at as Brother Nolan brought in 20 people, brought in 20 people, because no greater than the unit. No one man is greater than the brotherhood. No one man. That's why you have problems. You can start seeing the decimation of respect and trust and brotherhood when a man attains a title and don't want to let it go. It's different if you're elected by your brothers. But if you find ways through tomfoolery and you want to hold a position for life, that shows a distrust, a ill nature towards the whole meaning of Freemasonry. Leader looks for his successor because his success and his legacy is predicated on those that follow him. Those that follow him show the brothers the progression of life. Nothing stands still. It's always evolving, always growing. I was telling brothers, the reason sometimes older brothers got to step away is to allow the young leader to lead without compromise. Okay? Brotherhood represents shared burdens, shared wisdoms, shared accountability, and shared growth. In the Bible, it says every man needs good counsel. You need people of wisdom surrounded by you. You can consult God before making a decision, but it's always important on the level. Okay, on the level, you can talk to another brother and ask them their opinion, or entrust them with a problem you may be going through, and allow the community to help guide you. You don't have to take what they say, but you can learn a lot because you have free counsel. The esoteric how can that happen? When you're isolated, and each of you watch those wildlife shows. When that lion, that leopard, that cheetah sees all the water buffalo, all the antelope, all the deer by the water drinking, to create chaos in the community. And the whole sole purpose is that is for them to seek out the weakest, chase it down, and devour it. So whatever you see chaos, is not a time for brothers to split, run. It's time for us to unify. If you look at wildlife, a lot of time with a lot of the bison and stuff like that, together in a herd, and if they run towards the danger, normally they stomp it out. But you have some protectors in the herd, and their sole purpose is to destroy the attacker. They understand the esoteric nature of that isolation weakens a man, but brotherhood strengthens him. People have drinking problems and other addictions and other issues in the mind when they get separated, and those demons begin to talk, and you can't deal with the demons because they become louder than reality. And that's where brotherhood shines. Because I can reach out to one of those brothers, and reach out to those brothers, okay? I can let them know that I have some help. I have some help. The enemy wants to sift you as blouse. But the thing is, though, I want y'all to understand is that, and I know the enemy, and I'm not saying that people call me as an enemy, but I know the enemy don't want this out. But I have to share this with the brothers. Please listen. Isolation weakens you. It weakens you. It corrupts you. It'll whisper in your ear, nobody loves you, nobody cares. But brotherhood strengthens you. The enemy wants to separate you from your connection. A cell phone losing power needs to be connected and recharged. If you're disconnected to dies, and when your battery dies, your will dies. And when your will dies, even though you may be physically alive, up here, and you turn off. When a man isolates, his thoughts become heavier and evil. His strengths become deeper. His struggles become deeper and sinister, and your perspective becomes limited and lethal. But when he's connected to the right man, when he's connected to the brother, see life differently than what you're going through. He gains strength. Okay. He gains strength. You see life better than it was. And then he gains support. He knows that no matter how dark it is, I have people that I can trust with my life that'll help pull me through. Freemasonry, my friends, teaches that brotherhood is not in present. Available, reliable. and accountable. When you see leadership posting penalties for latenesses and not being here, it's not because they hate you and they want to put you out. They want to hold you accountable. In order to be successful in Freemasonry, many people say, I'm with you. But these three things say, I'm a brother, I'm part of it, that I'm available. When you have the grand, it's not the way I feel. It's about the bigger available and reliable. Are you reliable? Are you available? You know what time the meetings are. And I told my wife, I will shift things around in my life to make sure I meet my meeting because my brothers mean that much to me. You mean that darn much to me. When I went in, if I come to work, I need to be off from work by this time because it means this much to me. They don't need to know what it is. They just need to know that this time has been set aside for my brothers. Period. Ain't no second guessing. Because as a master mason, as a man, as an 24-inch gauge, gavel, chisel, to keep us bonded. This is where the lesson becomes real, brothers. I'm going to look you straight in your eye. This is where it gets real. Many men today surround themselves by people, but they still feel alone. Why? Because that surrounding, that social gathering lacks the one thing that we hold dear, brotherhood. Because know what? If I have art with other brothers, as long as they're my brother, portion of love there that we like it or not. And growing up and being mature says, I have the maturity to say it's not how I feel, it's what I know. And if I recognize him to be a brother, I have to be able to work with him, whether I like him. Has nothing to do with like. You got people married that don't like each other. They love each other, but they don't like each other. I tell my wife the reason why we trip and laugh and joke and we survive the, you know what it is? Because I like my wife. Most people say, well, I love my wife. I love my life. That word love is thrown around too much. I like her. I like her. I love many things. I love my car. Love her. And with the brother, only look at this thing as not a burden. When you know the meetings are coming, you have to grow up and be mature and carve out time in your month to make your meetings. Why? Because I not only love my brothers, I like them enough to put them at a point. I put my family here. But when will Freemasons become a priority? Everybody likes the rings. Everybody likes the symbols on their cars. But when will our brotherhood become a priority? We're not just friends. We're not just associates. But we are brothers. That the world won't. A real man, a real brother. They will tell you the truth. A real man will tell you the truth. If your breath stinking, look, bro, I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna help you out. Tell you the truth. If you're treating your wife wrong, I've had Brother Nickens come and tell me how you dealt with your past wife was wrong. And I learned those lessons. That's why I'm in a relationship now. He told me it was no, excuse me, I don't want you to take it. He told me on the level, bro, what you did was dead wrong. I didn't like accepted it. Why? Because it made me a better man. Because you don't get better listening to everybody's opinion. You get better when you're around people that hold you accountable. Real men will stand with you during hard times, man. We in court with you. We know you did it. You were honesty. When you lie to me, that's something different. But if you can tell me the truth, I don't have a hell to put you in. Hey, I did A, B, C, D, and E. Will you stand with me? I will stand with a brother regardless of the outcome. Why? Because you're truth. You're my brother. Beside you in tough times. And finally, real men will push you to grow. Real men will push you to grow. That's why we want you to know your symbols. That's why we want you to use your working tools. I don't want you to memorize them. I want you to the Supreme Council, when we in the full this of Masonry, that you can be a brother that when you stand up, the whole room recognizes you as a brother. That's the success of a law. Stands on the principle of Freemasonry and can stand in that room, articulate, and they know that man is a brother. That's brotherhood. Not ducking and dodging. Not putting everything in front of the brothers. I ain't trying to say put this before God, but there has to be a time in your life where you respect your brothers and you say, you are important to me. You are important to me. Those meetings ain't just to talk about this and fundraising. That's because it says that you are so important to me. I will take time out of my life. I will put who will be at hard times and push me to grow. That's brotherhood. Not this crap. It's because you can cable told me and put a cloak around my head and I gotta go hear John Smith preach. I gotta go to the football game. You don't have to go nowhere, but what you're supposed to be obligated to your word. Carve time out for those who stand with you. Carve time out for those who stand with you. Because the same brother that's making plans for everything else, when he throws up that grand hailing sign, because he's recognized as a master mason, give him assistance to the length of my cable toe. Much accountability and that much responsibility, you should be able to be there for me just for the basics, meetings, lessons, lectures. There has to be a time come where brothers got to put up and just shut up. That's brotherhood. A true brother is not just there when things are good, when we win and we having affairs and you can come around and put on all your clothes and your jewelry and all that stuff. A true brother is there when difficult. He's there when we struggle. He's there when a man is failing. He's there when his brother falls. He's there when a man is losing direction, losing hope, losing his family, losing his zeal for life. This is where Freemasonry. When the worshipful master at the time, he was Deputy Grand, called me, I told him, I am not going to join that lodge. I'm done. But he said, "Know what, brother? I appreciate that." And I remembered my obligation. I only can pick and choose what I like to do in Freemasonry. It says, when I'm called on for a brother, a worthy brother, then I'll come. That I'll come. That's what this means, Brother Nolan. I know you ain't not a master mason yet, but I'm going to tell you, as long as there's breath in my body and you have the will to become a master mason, we have already endeavored to say this brother will be a master mason. We're going to make this happen as long as he does his part. Because right is from 1 to 33. 1 to 33. So if he is a 1, the same level of support. Craft or the Master Mason or my 14th degree or my 32nd degree or my knight or anything else, I am obligated to that brother to push him over. Because all I see is a man who, when the lodge is broken down on the EA degree, he can walk in a lodge. He's not a coward. He's not an eavesdropper. He's a brother on the EA degree. Understand? Because service. I get to sign the grip. I get the white A large with my bow tie on, my suit, a lambskin apron. Nah, that's being part, but it's not being the full. Because brotherhood requires action. It's checking on your brothers. Checking on your brothers. It's on encouraging them and correcting them when they need it and supporting them without judgment. Brother Tommy, Tommy can tell me anything, I'm going to tell him the truth, and I'm not doing it in judgment. It's going to be done in we do this because we do it in love. It's not to be judgment, not to say, well, I'm a 33rd degree, and what I say is the law. No. I don't care about that degree, because guess what? On the 3rd degree is foundation. It's about checking in on you, encouraging, correcting you, and supporting you. Come to me and say, I failed, bro. I stepped out on my wife. I failed, bro. I got fired. My job ain't to sit here and beat you up about what you didn't do. Supporting you. All right, brother, you failed. What lessons did you learn? How can I help you? A weak brotherhood be just this is another social group. Brothers come and choose what they want. Can't even open for meetings because it's not important enough. Listen, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this with an ounce of love. I value my brother. Without brotherhood, you don't have a house or a lodge. A strong brotherhood. Listen to this. I want you to write this down. When you go on these things, this is very important. A strong brotherhood changes lives. Not just handing out turkeys, not handing out shoes, not cutting grass, a parade. No. A strong brotherhood changes lives. When families can believe in you. Check this out. My wife believes in my brothers. She's excited about the brothers. I came back home with pictures. She said, I want to be Easter Star. I'm going to help y'all grow. Because I see the excitement of the brotherhood. She believes it. Brother Mondale comes by, she believes in them. We have become more believable. She said, if you die today or tomorrow, I know I'm good. I said, what you mean? I know the brothers, if I call one of them, they won't lead me astray. They're more than friends. These brothers have become family, a real brotherhood. That tells you a lot. My kids. Gathering at the beach this year. I'm 15 minutes from a beach right now. It's simple stuff, yo. It don't take much. Everybody brings something. We got a grill. We at the beach. We having a good time. Kids don't see money. They see the value of unity. And do you know what kind of energy comes when the brothers come together? Husband must be at the meetings of instruction because of this bond, and we create a family when other people don't know a family. Not every man in this lodge had a father. Not every man in this lodge had a mother. Not every family in this lodge had a biological mother and father upbringing. Some people came in foster care and it came through the system, but in the brotherhood they're gonna see family. They're gonna see family because a strong brotherhood, a strong cornerstone lodge number one. We the ones. Put them ones up. Cornerstone Lodge number one. Put them ones up. We the ones. A strong brotherhood changes lives. A strong brotherhood changes lives. Now, I'm going to get into some reflection right now. This is the most important part of this lesson today. So I'm going to slow down and I'm going to let it breathe. And I don't need y'all brothers to be silent. I'm going to ask you, one at a time, but I want to talk to you. I got a question. Got three of them, but I'm going to ask you one though. When was a time you needed support but didn't ask for it? When was a time in your life that you needed support and didn't ask? All right, you pop on.
Yes,
All right, talk to me. When was a time you needed support but didn't ask for it?
truthfully, every time I ever needed support in my life, I
Real.
just,
Oh,
I have a habit. I don't ask. I think that come from, um, I'm the oldest
mm-hmm.
of eight.
Yeah.
All the rest, biological,
Uh-huh.
uh, a girl. I
Okay.
have a, I have a stepbrother, but I'm older than him too.
Okay.
So that would make nine.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I've always just been a loner.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been one depending on um, other people unless we were going about doing something together. And I
Mm-hmm.
only depended on them to hold their weight. But all along, I had a plan. Like I would always have a plan as if they failed, how would I have to do it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the story of my entire life.
So can I ask you a question? That meant rock and one that was relied on to do it, even though you may not have the strength, you still became the rock in that situation.
I'm sorry, say again because you cut out.
So that means that in life, you were the
Mhm.
rock to those individuals in all those situations.
Yeah, I would say so. But more or less, a lot of the situations I was by myself
Mhm.
because I've always been alone.
Right. I can tell you right now, bro, because of the masonry, when taught properly, when taught esoteric, that takes an oath upon that altar, whether 1 through 33, is ever alone. You got to understand that because of the makeup of the lodge, because we haven't been taught the fullness of Freemasonry, which that ends the day. That's why I'm doing these lessons. When you're taught the fullness, the EA degree, because such a powerful degree, is not looked EAs. No, it's the building block, the cornerstone to everything we hold dear as Freemasons. Now, Brother Noel, I'm going to ask you another question. What does real brotherhood mean to you, not in words, but in action? Talk to me.
In my mind, a group together of men is banded together like a chain link that's unbreakable.
Okay. So in that, what actions, just words, a real brotherhood based on what we said before, what actions do they display?
They display concern for their fellow brothers by showing up for their brothers like they're supposed to, when they're supposed to, supporting their brothers, and 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 just being everything that uh, a brother should be. I never had a brother, but I've always wanted one. So
I can tell you now, brother, you got brothers. You got real brothers. It's not a week that goes by we don't think about each other. Even with my biological brother, there are days where I'm so caught up. There's not a day that we don't think about each other. But I think the greatest thing in our is to, and which I'm harping on now, is to teach people how to be brothers. That's something that we need to know because we don't know. You just don't know. You don't grow up. You're not just born to learn how to be a brother, how to be a son, how to be a man. We figure this stuff out. But Freemasonry gives you some lessons to help you understand what brotherhood is and what it isn't. It's not lip service, it's action. They say action. Well, that's the mantra for our period. And then the final question I'm going to ask is, what can we do as a lodge to be stronger for one another? What can we do as a lodge? And I need to hear at least 3 people on this one. What can we do as a lodge to become stronger for one another?
So what? You gonna talk? Because I've made a point that this time I'm keeping my mouth shut. I talk every last one of these. So, but I'm interested to hear the answer to this question because this question is the $1,000,000 question. When you look at this, and I I love this lesson for more than what brothers are sitting here getting, right? Because I think it had good content. I think it was very helpful from the standpoint that if a person truly understands what brotherhood is outside of that canned response of it's just being around people that share the same mindset, right? That's a broad, overarching concept that most people just don't get, right? When you start breaking it down and you start getting into the nuances, that's when I would say, for instance, like what Brother Floyd just said, where he was like, "Hey, I didn't have a brother coming up, so." When it comes down to what I'm expecting, right, it's kind of hard. I don't know what to expect because I really don't have a brotherhood. And the other thing is just the fact that from a brotherhood perspective, you have to build that. And in masonry, most people just don't get that. right? The brotherhood is built based off of what the individual brother is going to bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
So if you bring isolation, it is going to be impossible for you to have and bond with other brothers because you bring isolation, right? So for a person who genuinely is a loner, I'll use myself. Growing up, I had a lot of friends. Well, not a lot of friends. I had a lot of associates, right? I had I had a good amount of friends, but most of the time I rolled by myself. That concept when I came into masonry was totally different because when I watched how brothers moved, and it's one thing where I will tell you the lodge we have now, which I don't want to call it dysfunctional, right? Because what we have to do is you have competing mindsets. And the competing mindsets, we've always had competing mindsets, but you had a core foundation. If we nail that question down that you just asked, that in turn gets us to where we need to be because then the statement that we say, the brotherhood and masonry is based off of what you bring to the table. Your expectation of what you want from masonry is the thing you should be bringing into masonry. If you don't have, if you come in with no expectation or you don't allow yourself to vision what it is that you want, it is impossible for you to get what you need as far as brotherhood because everybody has something that they want out of brotherhood, right? Whatever that may be. So, as the worshipful master, this is one of those times where now I truly can sit back and listen to what the lodge members are saying as to what it is that they want from masonry, because then I can sit back and say, okay, well now if Brother Ayers say, well, I want to do more community service, you know what I'm going to be expecting? I'm going to be expecting for him to be around the brothers, and I'm going to be expecting for him that every time you turn around, he's going to be coming in with an idea for us to do community service, right? If Brother Nolan want to go out and he wants to keep us active with social things because part of that's part of what it is that he wants because that's how he envisions his brothers, then that's what he's going to do. Now that's tangible, right? The other thing though is if you expecting help from your brothers, if you want your brothers when you call, you want them to show up and do something for you. You want to know what you got to do? You have to be there so that when you see a brother asking for help, you need to be able to take and say, all right, bro, what is it that you need? Because what people forget is you got to do unto others as you will have them do unto you. That's the golden rule. So if you don't do that, it's impossible for you to get what you want. I'm sorry, I went on a tangent, but
No, I mean, no. Definitely. So, in reading the book, Men Are From,
did you just say men are from Mars, women are from Venus?
yes, it's a book that I read, and it helped me with my relationship expectations. It said, if I want the ultimate spouse, I must become the ultimate. And brotherhood, we entail must become the walking, talking epitome of camaraderie and accountability, others to do what you say and you're not willing to do, because that separates us from a social group. And people got to understand, Brother Thomas, you peeping that?
Yeah, no, I was just basically saying, sir, you got to become the light that you're seeking.
Mm-hmm. And I want you to answer that question for me. I want to add you. What can we do as a lodge to become stronger for one another?
Okay, I'll start off. We gotta spend more.
I
One,
was going to
Talk,
jump my.
talk, the floor.
I
I
was
want to
going to
hit him
jump.
with this.
I was definitely going to jump.
Tell
I
me.
was going to jump.
Okay.
You got me. And I can honestly say this is from the most recent experience I had with the lodge when we went to the event.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that event left me full of hope. Hope. Okay, that it is a better way.
Yeah.
You got me. It is. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. All right. That event was not about anything physical. They gave out physical awards and things like that, but it was more about uplifting the spirit that was there, that we are supposed to shine out into the community.
Mm-hmm.
Being that light is really hard sometimes in your environment, having the certain people around you and things like that. One of my
Mm-hmm.
hardest things trying to figure out is how do I keep that hope when I wake up to hell
Mm-hmm.
every day?
Mm-hmm.
How do I take what I just saw, what I just learned, and break it down to the most minute level where the flies on the wall will pick it up like it's poop?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think we should figure out, and it will help the lodge. I don't know how to say it in any more of a layman term than that right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
You
your
got
thing
me?
is,
And
so what I'm saying, Tommy, is this is very important in the lesson overview, is that we have to become part of the solution and not the problem. Brothers now has to break down the walls of isolationism, because until you shared this with the brothers had known. So in order for us to help heal, guide, strengthen, and push you towards growth, brothers have to become more transparent and allow us to, intimacy is not just sex. It's into me you see. I'm opening the door so you can
I
my
like that.
life, see through my eyes.
Intimacy is,
Folks,
I like
intimacy
that.
is not
Yeah,
sex. It's
I like that.
into me you see. And if I
Mm,
can't see into my brother, all I can do is assume. And if I assume, I make a out of you or me. And nine
yeah.
times out of 10, I don't make it out of me because I only can give you what I see.
Mm,
But when the need is met, I can give you what I know. I can't give you divine wisdom if you're isolated. A man who don't share, a man that holds his own burdens, a man all that leads to the destruction of that man. Freemasonry flips the script. It says, hey, I need to know my brothers so I can hold them accountable, so I can encourage them. Because in the group that we to seek help have brought stuff out of brothers and say, you know what? I'm gonna go to the hospital and get my prostate checked. I'm gonna go to the hospital and get this checked. I'm gonna go because now they understand who it is. And Brother Tommy, I'm going to say this: what can we do to become stronger for one another? It's only one word: transparency. We got to know each other. We got to know each other. And guess what? Even if it's going to hurt my feelings, it's good that the Bible
Everybody
says
gonna know.
it was good that I was afflicted. So that means if I'm doing something
Exactly.
or I keep repetitive cycles that's crushing me and I'm getting older and older and older, but doing the same thing the same way each time, I gotta expect, do my transparency, one of the big brothers or one of the brothers to come and say, hey, bro, either you gonna make a change or you down the law. That's the
Mhm.
Brothers, when we can expose ourselves and say, this is the problem I'm having. I've done this for years, and do transparency. It don't just happen in the lodge. It happens casual. It happens through fireside chat where we can sit down and really chop it up. Not come trying to prove that my Rolex is brighter than yours. My car is faster than yours. When brothers come together, there's no competition like that. And brother, we come together no matter if I'm driving a Lambo or a lawnmower. We come together and say, boom, here is the issue of life. And every brother around there with their infinite wisdoms and their infinite backgrounds come together to help that brother. Freemasonry is the ultimate support system. No other fraternity requires you to do what we require you to do as an entered apprentice, fellow craft, or master. So the final question I'm going to ask the Brotherhood is, do you feel like you truly have brothers you can depend on? And that's open. Do you feel like you truly have brothers you can depend on? I'm going to allow 2 or 3 to speak.
Are you saying in general or literally?
Lesson, I was writing it down. Do you feel like you truly have brothers you can depend on? And it says allow 2 or 3 to speak. This is where real correction begins.
I,
So,
I, I believe I do, if I asked.
I concur with my man because I don't ask either.
okay, so my take is, I mean, well, that's like slanted when you add the ass part, right? Because the only, I mean, we everything about masonry is about asking, right? You
Right.
become a mason.
Yeah,
The first thing to
you gotta
becoming a
ask.
mason is knocking or asking, right?
Yes,
Ask
sir.
one to be one, right? So you got to ask. But what I would say is, yes, I have brothers that I can depend on. The catch is whether or not I think that I have brothers that I can depend on that's willing to do what I'm willing to do,
Okay.
which is different, right?
Yeah.
So, for instance, and part of it is just is part of my nature, right? How I came up. But for me, and a lot of times you hear brothers say this where, Grand Halen sign and, all these things. But if you got a brother, I mean, that thing that we say that a brother can ask anything of me and I am obligated to do, right? Except for, what is it, treason or murder and treason?
Right.
Murder and treason are the things that it's not saying that I can't do it, but that is the one where I have to physically make the choice, right? Murder and treason, I have to make the choice to still go down that path with you. Everything before those two things, I am obligated as a master mason to the three. Actually, it's really to every mason on this call, right? I'm going to include the EA in this, although he might get a little backlash because he a EA, right? Like the eternal EA now. And I think he been an EA longer than Mundell, but
Mm-hmm.
oh, he's still not. Oh, okay. Well, then I won't mess with him then. But uh uh that thing that we have with one another, we all have to be willing to do that, and everybody's not willing to do that, I don't think, because it's in their nature, right? Like, we've been called on, look, brothers have called, they needed help, and the help, it doesn't necessarily have to be monetary, it doesn't have to be going to stand in the gap, like you're gonna stand tall with that person. Sometimes it's just, hey, I'm gonna come down and just kick it with you because you need a shoulder, right? You need somebody. I don't think that I have that all the time with people, although I am finding more and more that part of the reason that we don't get what it is that we want from our brothers is because we lack the capacity to know how to communicate that, right? If we learn how to communicate that, our brothers can reciprocate what it is that we need at the time that we need it.
Mm-hmm.
Because as men, we have this thing where we, I hate hearing the statement, I'm a man's man. Well, really, what does that mean? Right? I'm a man's man. First of all, that sounds gay right off the bat, right? When you think about it.
You say pause.
And it just seems, why would I want to be a man for a man, right?
It did not originate amongst the Afro. Okay, it started
Right.
in the
But
mountains of Caucasus, was where that statement came from.
but when you think about it, what that person really is saying is, by whatever standards they came up and they measure being a man by, they're saying that they meet that definition, right? One of the things that I love for me is the fact that when I came through, I was 21. At 21, you might as well say I was still 18, right? Which means that the men that were around me, they showed me a different way of being than what I saw and what I was taught on the streets of Baltimore City. So they opened my mind. Masonry is the thing about opening your mind, right? And a lot of brothers, because they I don't want to say they dumb it down, but they dumb Masonry down to just, being brothers and we cool and we got our obligation, till you fail to realize that all the men around you, and honestly, it's kind of hard because, if the men around you, to be brothers, you got to have men around you that are going to help elevate you and lift you up, because inside that circle, you need your brothers to be able to help you get to wherever it is that you're going. So, to what Senior Warden said earlier about our gifts, if I got to paint my house and I have never picked up a paintbrush, remember when we had to paint the lodge up on Ricerstown Road? Well, we had Brother Hayes there. Brother Hayes painted for a living, right? So he was sitting down there. Brother Hayes ain't pick up a brush. He sat in a chair. And basically everybody that had a roller or everybody that had a brush, he was like, "Nah, bro, what you doing? That's not how you do that. You do that by yada 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 yada." Right? That was him being a brother. It's more than just coming to my aid when I'm in need. Is being there honestly for when I'm getting ready to go through my storms, my turbulations, the things that I'm going through. And when you see me talking, or those conversations that we have, when we say we're building, because that's the conversation that y'all hear us say. When we're building, every time we come together as brothers, you have a building moment. You have a building conversation. We're going to vibe with one another. We're going to teach one another every time we get together. You don't have to be the smartest person in that group then. Sometimes when you first get in that group, because I think a lot of brothers stay away because they cannot communicate on a level that they think other brothers are communicating on, right? And where that comes into play is that every Master Mason should be able to talk to a brother where he is. It has nothing to do with degrees. It has to do with where you are in life, right? So if I'm a physicist and there's another physicist in the room, we can talk to one another and talk rings around everybody else inside that room, right? However, you can have two street dudes that are brothers. And them two physicists are lost as to what those brothers are talking about. Even though it seems like it's common language and it's common things, them two street brothers, and I'm saying street brothers, I should probably say urban brothers. Them two urban brothers are at the same level as them two physicists. So when they all talk to one another, they still have to be able to bring one another down to where they are and meet them. Now, the physicists have to be able to come down to where the urban brothers are, right? Because you would think that's the easiest way to be. But at the same time, them physicists have to be able to make that conversation tangible or understandable enough for those two urban brothers to elevate their game so that they can understand. That's how you build one another up. But key thing is for brothers, and this is the reason why I say I'm getting that now, that I have brothers that are willing to help me. Because at one time, I would tell you, no, I don't have no brothers that really can help me because of how I was going through life and how I viewed brothers, right? But now when I look at brothers, and honestly, I will say that with the brothers we have inside the lodge right now, those brothers that showed up, that took a lot 2 weeks ago to get to that point, right? That's the starting point. Now, those brothers that's there, plus the Forever EA and Brother Tamba, we all have to make this, we all have to start communicating with one another. And honestly, to get that brotherhood, you know what it really takes? Don't text,
Call.
just, hey, bro, how you doing? And even then, because the brother, I bet you if I called Nolan gonna be like, what he want, right? Why he calling? That's when he see my number. Why he calling, right? And then hey, bro, I'm only calling just to see how you doing. He gonna be like, really? Nah, it's something else behind that, right? I'm telling you, real talk. That's how brothers are. Now, Nolan, I'm messing with you right now, right? But that's how brothers are, right? Like Matt at 12 o'clock at night, I'm gonna call Matt, right? And now if I think Matt didn't answer my call like 3 days, right?
3 days,
I
yeah.
was like, hey,
Painkillers.
dude.
Painkillers.
I was like, hey, dude, you ain't answering the phone. Me and you good? Because I ain't had nobody because now I'm struggling at night, 12 o'clock. Matt, my person to keep me up all night, right? If I ain't talking to him, like, wait, 3 days? What's up with my brother now, right? Anthony did the same thing to me, Matt. Like today, I think he was like, "Hey, bro, you good?" Like, why? He said, "Cause I ain't heard from you. I've been busy, right?" So you got to call, but you have to build that type of rapport because from that rapport, you really tend to learn your brother. You get to know your brother, but you got to have those conversations. If we're not talking, there's no way that we're going to build it, with it seeing and just say into me, you see, or intimacy. You can't get that intimacy if you don't have those conversations to truly get to know how a person tick. And you ain't gonna get that on text messaging, right? You're not gonna get that by just saying hi, how you doing. You got to physically have those conversations, and or when we say we getting together as brothers, everybody got to show up, right? We're not gonna get there with just four brothers constantly showing up doing so. I'm not saying that we can't, we'll survive, right? But if we want to grow and influence other men,
I got a bunch of them here.
What?
In my neighborhood, I had 25 guys come by, shake my hand, walk me to the neighborhood, and I said, I'm going to throw an event. Oh man, they say, oh, you got that symbol on the back. Yeah, I want to meet some of them. So now I got guys in this neighborhood, black, white, Latino. Most of them are like, some of them cops. Other ones are businessmen. It's like a diverse group around here, but they want to meet my brothers. Because one guy said something that was really, he said, I've met some great single Masons. I have yet to meet a group of them. That's a strong statement. I've met some good single ones, but I've yet to see.
Yeah, that sound gay right there, Granddad. Why he looking at a single Mason? Like what?
So, like I said, I understood what he's saying. He's seen a lot of one-on-one Masons walk around they shining light, looking good, but when he said to see a group of them representing, because he said the last time he seen them, they was getting drunk in South Carolina when he was down in the military. So his impression of Masons have been women chasing drunks, but he has yet seen a group of guys that share that camaraderie and love and sitting down chopping it up and can have some real dialogue.
And that is one of the things that I would probably say I don't know how again that whole perception thing, it being a person's reality, believe it or not, I was 19 years old when I went in the military and I applied to be a Mason. And believe it or not, at 19, that was the stigma that was, and I'm going to say this, that was the stigma that was on Black Masons or African American Masons. I was over in Insulet, and a lot of good brothers over there. But when you hear that they and the wife swapping and all kinds of other stuff, right? That's when you really, man, you can tell he's sitting in mama kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, you have to, that part right there, where you have people who are saying that all Masons do is chase women and drink and party. That lets you know that the thing that is in the forefront of what lodges are doing is not necessarily what it is we want to do. Is there going to be bad in everything? Yes, there's going to be some negative in everything, but it should not foreshadow. And so that's what we as a lodge have to work to change.
Facts. Facts. Mm-hmm.
Is he taller than the refrigerator? What, she got a Oompa Loompa refrigerator now? Man, don't that refrigerator look like it's about as tall as mama?
Mm-hmm.
You better not let
Hey,
him see.
hey,
Huh?
brother,
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
And I said, man, he's thrice great, self-governing, self-directed, and not controlled by outside forces. And I said, I haven't seen that since college.
That is true.
What was that? Because you
His
broke
name,
up.
his name on his profile on his phone,
Who?
Brother Nolan.
You talking about that anonymous thing?
So
Autonomous.
autonomous trigger. I can't remember.
Great.
Right. Which means thrice great, self-governing, self-directed, not controlled by outside forces.
Them two words say all that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you do? Type it up?
No, I broke. I mean, the word autonomous mean he's that's thrice in Latin.
And the last word?
And
Latin.
self-governed.
In Latin.
Yeah, self-governed, self-directed, not controlled by outside forces.
Well, that's a good thing.
That's
Yeah.
what it must mean.
But I mean, looking at this lesson, and I think, like I said, when we come together, in the physical, it's important that every time brothers meet, and this was done by the Lodge of Scotland, the Brotherhood reflection was always one of the closing points by either the senior warden or the worshipful master. And they called it the Brotherhood reflection. It was always a reminder that when brothers leave this place, that you have that support, that, the encouraging brothers, correct. That was always a closing point in the lodges of Scotland, which grew their membership to thousands. And they reminded men every time, whenever they got together, what brotherhood meant. And that became one of the fastest growing lodges in history because they understood they put it out there. A true brother is not just there when things are good. They're there when things are difficult. They're there when men are struggling, when men are failing direction. This is where Freemasonry is lived at. And by putting it out in the public, by putting it out in the atmosphere, they were averaging about 20 to 30 petitions a month, simply because they lived what makes things grow, we have to consistently remind brothers the purpose of why we're here, the purpose of brotherhood. That brotherhood requires action. That brother And when you do a brotherhood reflection before any closing of any engagement or any social affair, say you come over my house, we have a cookout, before we leave and before we pray it out, we're going to sit here and remind everybody what brotherhood is. And your women can hear that, and your children to hear that, and that engrafts in them what you really stand for. Not just the compass, the square, and the letter G, but that the compass, the square, and the letter G stands for brotherhood. It's checking on brothers, it's encouraging them, it's correcting them, it's supporting them without judgment, it's being, you know, because we stand in touch, we're doing those things. And it's very important if, and I'm not going to say if, when we grow to be the Grand Lodge, the multiple lodges throughout the states, building and building and building, if it's not built on brotherhood, said the Grand Master of Scotland in 1946. He said, if it's not built on brotherhood, I don't want to build it. And this where this lesson originates from, his lesson to the lodge during that grand session. He did a statement, he did a lesson on brotherhood. If it's not built on brotherhood, I don't want to build it. And the infrastructure within a year because there's no brotherhood. You faking the funk. Rather than run out here and do all this community service, charity starts at home. When brothers feel that charity is abroad is more important than the charity at home, whether they ask for it or not, it's not that they have to ask for it, it's that they know it's readily available for them at any time, whether midnight, midday, or whatever, that they are valued, they're loved, and they have access. Now, if a man has access to running water and refuses to turn on the faucet, then he can't blame the brotherhood. He has to look in the mirror at himself. And as long as the brothers stay on these tenets, every time we meet, we close on a brotherhood reflection. Freemasonry. But no man becomes better alone. Brotherhood is not just being in the same room as great men, but it's about being connected to those men it's about showing up when no one else it's about showing up for one another. It's about lifting each other up when we fail. It's because one day, every brother connected one day will need your brothers. And on one day, your brother will need. The question for the big question is, will you be there for your brothers? Now, here's the homework. I'm gonna put it in the thread later on. I'm also put it in the description of this video. This week, take action. Reach out to one brother every day, 2 minutes. Not casually, but intentionally. Check on them. Encourage them. Support them. If you're struggling, be honest. Because strength is not found in pretending. It's found in being real with yourself and allowing your brothers to stand with you during your accountability, emotional strength, trust and connection, and unity. Let me say that again. This lesson reinforced 5 principles: brotherhood in action, accountability, trust and connection, and unity. It prepares each brother for the next level of life. Okay? It prepares the brothers for the next level of life. Now, we're open now for it. We're open now. Any comments, questions, concerns, or corrections?
No, I thank y'all for the lesson today.
Okay. All right. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'd like to thank y'all for the lesson today. Um, you will be posting this lesson in full again. Is that correct?
Be on the YouTube. I'll put the
Yeah. And
in last week's I couldn't upload it because my internet was active. They turned off the internet in my old house and I just got my new one. But I'm going to upload last week's lesson and this week's lesson as well. I want y'all to know that we have 5 more lessons in the EA degree. The next one is going to be the lambskin apron, the cable toe, the great lights, the 3 great tenements, and the obligation. They're the 5 remaining lessons for the EA we've done is readily available on the Master Mason's Way YouTube channel. So I'm going to have them posted by the end of the night for you brothers to peruse through and just keep them because they're lessons catalog of videos. Once I get through all 3 degrees, can be looked back on for years to come, teaching lessons that nobody else is teaching on that level. Even if we have a business meeting after we go into refreshment and come back, there's always a lecture relating to our degree work or our fraternity that each brother will take time teaching. And I will be helping brothers learn how to do it because in order for you to grow in Freemason, you have to be challenged. Every brother that's a 3rd degree Master Mason or an EA or a fellow craft. If you're in a fellow craft lodge, if you're an EA, you should be able to get up and give a 10 minutes teaching on something relating to that degree. And we will be getting back to that. A 10 to 15-minute dissertation that you can kick it and have full knowledge of it. So that's the rule that we're going to go by. And it's like I said, it's not punishment. It's allowing you to grow because until you can regurgitate what you've learned, all you just did was read a book. And a lot of people can read a book and not have no knowledge of what they just read. Just like most people go to church and can't give you a clue or what the preacher was talking about, including the preacher who preached it, because their focus is on format and structure as opposed to substance. Without stuff, it should be so powerful that the energy that comes from them brothers together in one room, that if you miss that session, that is going to be lacking for the rest of your life. Not a camera, not a video, not a recording can replace the energy in that room from brothers touching and agreeing. Because the Almighty did say, well, there are two or three gathered together, touching and agreeing, he's in the midst. That's not just the church, that's just life in general. So we got to make sure we keep that amongst everything that we do, and we grow from that, because we're only going to get better through self-mastery by allowing your brothers life. You're never stuck, okay? You're never ruled by impulses. You're never waiting on approval. You're not waiting to be influenced by degree. You now can sit amongst brothers, whether on the EA degree, fellow craft degree, or the Master Mason's degree. All right, brothers. Anybody got anything else before we close? Works for Master?
What was that? What'd you say?
Anything before we close out tonight?
No. The only thing is next week is our first meeting. So I'm expecting everybody that's on this call to be there. I know we got to do some logistics to make sure everybody can get down to the building and bring our and make sure that we get our large furniture from Junior Warden's house. So we have to figure that out. But I'm hoping that everybody, it is going to be a black and white meeting, but I've talked to the Grandmaster, and most likely, while I'm not changing it from black and white, this is going to be more of a question and answer type of thing.
Can we do something? Can we close out this session, because I'm still recording?
Oh,
I
yeah,
want
yeah,
to
yeah,
close
yeah,
this
yeah.
out, and then we'll close out with prayer, and then we'll stay on for 5 or 6 minutes and get some instruction from our worshipful master. So can I have a brother pray us out? Brother Thomas?
Okay. All right,
Okay.
gentlemen, can you hear me?
Yes.
Please bow your head. Great architect, thank you for bringing us here together today to speak about brotherhood. Something that it sounds like we need throughout the world. Let that light shine here amongst us as bright as we possibly can put it out there. Let us be the lighthouse for all others to see. I thank you for the men that you've brought me around, for the lessons that you've given them before they even received me as a brother. All things are done through you. Gentlemen, some more to be, or amen.
Amen. So more to be.
Some more to
So more to
be.
be.
Some more to
More to
be.
be.
Some more to be. I love you, fellas.